very blessed day, everyone. Greetings to you in the name of the Father, the Creator, the Most High, Allah, Yah, Yod-Heh-Vah-Hu-Het, Elohim, Netta, God in her modern day name, and in the name of the Lord Thoth, Melchizedek, Yehovah. This is Neophyte DAG, bringing you another message. Dark skin, black people of the house of Israel. This is your journey from Egypt to Europe. Your journey from Egypt to America. Your journey that you have taken for the past 6,480 years leading up to this time. My people, if you don't know where you're coming from, you will not know where you're going. If you don't have an understanding of the planet that you're on, if you don't have a knowledge of the workings of the planet that you're on, then you will forever be in darkness about who you are, where you're coming from, and where you are going. Let's jump into this message. Because first we have to know the planet that we are on and how it works in order to figure out where we are coming from. This is your planet, as given back to you in the Urbano Monte map of 1587. So everyone know at that time how your planet looked before the changers took over in 1924 and started lying so you wouldn't know who you are, so you would overpower them with that knowledge of self. But this is the planet the way it looked. North America on one side, Africa on one side, Europe on one side, and Africa was pointing up, not down as you see it in your modern day map. And also, there's an ice barrier around the known and occupied portion of your planet. But there's more going on outside of the occupied zone. Because the occupied zone, all it is, it's the climate zone. The climate zone that's moving in a circular pattern around your entire planet. But we'll get into that in a few minutes. But this is identically as how your planet is presented to you by your father. That's the map that was being used in 1587. This is the map. It also, when you blow it up, it tells you who was on the land, what was on the land at that particular point in time. I will have this in the booklet so you can go through it and get a better perspective as to what was known about the planet before the changers came into full swing, full mode in changing information and hiding information, putting us through menticide and putting us through academic fraud by lying academically to us, giving us a false narrative when the truth was being held, hiding from you all the time. But this is how the planet looked. This is the breakout of the planet. What was on the planet, what animal, what people were on the planet. It gives a full description. This is the top portion of the map that I showed you. This is the lower portion of the map. So it's telling you all that has been going on the planet, who the people were that were on the planet, how it was situated. It gives you a full description of what was going on. But none of this was taught to us in our geography class or in our history class or in any other class that you have taken. None of this showed up. But again, I will give you this in the booklet so you can get a sense of what your planet looked like when the liars were busy working, telling lies. But it doesn't stop there. The Gleason Standard Map of 1892 again gives your planet in a description as to how it truly looks. You have North America, you have Europe, and you have Africa. Again, it's not what you see on your modern day map. Because Africa, when you're really situated on the real map, it's pointing up. The point of it where you see South Africa, it isn't South Africa. It's North Africa on the real map. as the Gleason Standard Map has shown you, where Africa is pointing up, where the south portion of it, what we call South Africa, is really pointing north. That's the map. If you go back here to the Urbano map, it's the same thing. On the left-hand side of the map, pointing upward to north, is what you call your modern-day South Africa. But it's not south, it is north. But it's the changers changing it up to try to sell you, to try to give you that narrative that your planet is this only location, is what you're seeing on their modern-day map. But it is not so. That's what I'm here to tell you today. Moving on, going back to the Urbano map, you notice that round grid around the known and occupied part of the planet. That's what you call the Antarctic ice circle, the Antarctic ice dome. That's on the Urbano Monte map, and it's also on the Gleason Standard Map of 1892, where they put a white area on this map showing the Antarctic circle that's covering your circumference of the occupied zone of your planet. Again, people, if you don't understand how your planet works, you will make and you will stay in the errors and the falsity that they have given us over the many years to remove the children of Israel from the process of their father, to remove the children of Israel from the land that their father put them on, to subdue at all times. Moving forward, because it is known in the Antarctic that there's a dome surrounding the occupied zone of your planet, because wherever the climatic zone is on your entire planet, around it, it keeps a ring, a dome, to lock you in that specific area at that particular time. And you cannot get out of that zone, which they discovered and they put in the Encyclopedia Americana of 1958. The original one, don't bother go looking for it now. They pull them all out of circulation. It's not available for you to see anymore. After they discovered it and they decided, no, we can't let the people know this. The Antarctic program, they call it. Many exploratory flights flew over Antarctica and they went to the border of the Antarctica circle that's circling your entire planet, the occupied portion of it. And they realized there's a dome, an enclosure, you're locked in. It's 13,000 feet high, going all the way up to the sky, locking them in, locking us in, all in that dome, that enclosure, that roof, that ceiling that cannot be penetrated. Encircling each planet is a wave of vibration that lock you in your dimension of time, your manifestation of time, your space of time. You cannot get out of that dome area. So no matter how much Esau and Lucifer tell you that they're flying to the moon and they're flying to Mars and they're flying to this, they're not flying anywhere. They're just flying in their dream and in their lies. Encircling each planet is a wave of vibration that lock you into the experimental zone, your school zone, that you have to stay and learn how to merge yourself from a physical person to a person of light. Then you are allowed to get out of that quarantine dome. That's what I'm here to tell you today, oh children of Israel, the reason why you're getting this information now is because that dome is getting ready to be lifted away, to be moved away, and you need to know what is coming before it comes, because your Father and the Lord promise you, I will let you know things before they happen. They won't just spring upon you and you're not prepared and you're unprepared. You get every opportunity to know what is coming, to know what you missed, and to know how to prepare yourself for what is coming. So the veil will be removed. So there's no separation of space and time. You are allowed to see it and make sure that you qualify yourself before these events occur. Because if you're not qualified, you're going to have to spend 12 more months learning how to qualify yourself before you get a chance to exit that program that you are currently in. Make your way to being a righteous being, my children of Israel. I'm talking to you. But you're locked in a dome. They know it. They know it all along, but no one wants to tell you. Because if I tell you, you know what, we're all locked in a dome, but I need to rule over you. The first thing you're going to say, what about the person who's ruling over you that locked you in with me? You're just as much locked in as I am. So I can't rule over you if you know that we're both locked up in prison at the same time. Unless I lie to you and say, I am in charge of the whole thing. There's nothing else out there. Don't look. Everything is right here on this planet. Don't look anywhere else. No, don't read that book. No, don't read this book. No, don't read that. Stay right here with me and let me rule over you. But that is done. Time for you to know truth again, my children. This is how your planet look like. This is how your planet look at this particular point in time. There it is again. Africa, South Africa pointing north, North America all the way to the right-hand side. Then down below, you have Europe. Then moving away from Europe, you have Australia. And then in between Australia and North America, that is Lemuria. The land is there, my people. It's just in another space of time, but it's there. It's there. All these lands are there. And then you can see the white circle going around your known area. That's called the Antarctic Circle. That's where the dome is, locking you in that space and that time. That's the only place you're allowed to occupy on the planet at this time. Every 3,240 years, the space and time, the space of occupation moves 45 degrees going to the right. Every 3,240 years. So that's what you need to know as well about how your planet operates. So the climate zone, that's what it's called, where you have an Arctic circle, where you have a circle of Cancer, where you have an equator, and then you have a circle of Capricorn, and then you have an Antarctic circle. That's the climate zone. Every 3,240 years, it moves 45 degrees in a circle to another location. And it keeps moving and moving and moving until it makes a 360-degree turn. And it does that over and over and over again. The 360-degree turn occurs within 25,920 years. So that's how I got 3,240. If you take that 25,920 years divided by 8, that's how you get 3,240 years. Because every 45-degree turn, it's 8 of them that make up a 360-degree turn, a full turn. So that's your planet that you are on. You're in this space right now in your procession of time. It's going to move the climate zone another 45 degrees within the next 2 years. It's already moving, people. So don't fool yourself. We'll get to that in a minute. But it's telling you some more about the planet that you are on and how it works. Because if you miss this, a lot of the timing of the children of Israel, how you move from one location to the next, will be off unless you go back to how the Father had intended for you to know about his creation, that you were put here to rule over, to administer over, to be the caretaker of. Every time it moves 45 degrees, you remain the caretaker of that location that it's in, whether the old one or the new place where it's moving to. It's moving again, and you're going to be made the caretaker again, starting from scratch. Every time it moves a 45 degree, it's a cataclysmic event. It moves with catastrophic events occurring to reset and purify, cleanse the location that you were in, move you to a new location that is cleansed already. So this is where you're at this point in time. Take a good look at it. I will have it in the booklet that I am going to attach in the description section of the video. This is how your planet looks. This is how your planet looks. If I move it back to here, that's the full scope of your planet that your Father gives to you to see as his creation for you, O children of Israel, children of Jacob, Judah, Ephraim, and my Gentile brothers and sisters as well. It's all for you. But it's Israel time to be raised up and to rule over this planet. This is what your Father shows you. The reason why I can say that, because he gives you a picture of his planet. Every time you look at a full moon, it's a picture of your planet. You think your Father need man to tell you what your planet look like? You think your Father send you down here without any information as to the planet that he's putting you on to rule, and he didn't tell you beforehand that the moon is an image of your planet? You knew very well what it was. But again, man came and changed what you knew. He took away your knowledge. He took away your knowledge. He killed all your high priests. He murdered everyone with the knowledge to make sure that knowledge was taken away from you. But your Father said in the book of Daniel, tell them knowledge shall increase. And they shall know everything they had known back in the time when they were in full control of this planet. Moving back to that original picture of the moon on the left-hand side. Any full moon, you go out there and look, that's what you're seeing on the left-hand side. That's your planet being shown back to you. In your modern day language, that's a selfie of your planet being given back to you. The moon reflects light that is on the ground on your planet, and it gives it back as an image to you. If you take that image it's giving back to you, flip it vertically in any photo software program. Just do click, vertically flip, and it will give you what's on the right hand side of your screen. When you're looking at a reflection, it normally reverses the reflection. So to get it back in its true and original state, you have to flip it vertically to bring it back as if it's not looking through a lens. Now you get what you have on the right hand side. If you look at it and see the shaping of it, you can see where Africa is in the lower middle portion, pointing up, pointing north. That's Africa. And if you look to the right hand side, that's the shape of North America and South America. That's your planet. You see how it is given back unto you by the Father, the Most High. Allah, Yod Hevah, Elohim, the netter of netter, who makes sure that his children get every information that's owed unto them. This is your planet. You want to see what it really looks like? Here it is, given back to you, so you can easily identify what is what and where is where. That's what your Father had given unto you as your planet, the picture that he gives you. Every month, he reminds you of what your planet looked like until you came back in the knowledge of the planet that your Father put you on. You don't need man to tell you what your planet looked like. Your Father has put it in the sky. He said in Luke 21 verse 28, I shall send you signs, so look up so you can see those signs. Look up so you can see the sign of the sun, the moon, and the stars. Look up, my people. That's what you're seeing every lunar month. That's what you're seeing coming back to you. On the right-hand side, if you want to break it out to how the countries that are set up now politically look like, that's it. Exact image shown unto you every month by your Father. If you look at it, doesn't it look like this? Doesn't it look like that as well? The same thing given back unto you as your moon. It's your planet, my people, oh children of Israel. That's your planet being shown back to you by your Father. Every month he shows you the planet, the occupied zone that are in colored, and then the unoccupied zone that are to the left side of the map that are in the grayish color. That's the unoccupied zone. By you, other people are there occupying it. But you're quarantined up to your Antarctic circle. You're quarantined. You're locked in by that dome. Remember, we covered here. There's a dome locking you in at the Antarctic circle. So you cannot move past that dome, that lock, that ceiling, the roof that has been put up on you. You cannot go past the last circle in this procession of time. You're locked in at the Antarctic. Nothing can go out. You have to stay in that zone. That's what the Father has given unto you, O children of Israel, as your occupied zone of the planet that moves every 3,240 years. The climate zone moves 45 degrees to the right. Every time you reach that 3,240 year change, a cataclysmic event occur. This is the climate zone now at our time on the right-hand side, where you see that Antarctic circle. That's where the dome is located, people. You can't cross that dome to go outside into Terra El Vista. You cannot go to Terra El Vista as yet until the dome and the ceiling and the veil are removed. We're getting to that time right now because we're at the end of another 3,240 years where this climate zone will move another 45 degrees in a circular manner, and we'll go through that in a second. But every time this is set up, every time a climate zone is set up, no matter where on the 45 degree turn it is, the Arctic zone is normally occupied by the Japhetite race of men. That's where you get the Noah son story. The Noah son dividing the land. That's where you get the Noah's son dividing the land. The Japhetites occupy the Arctic zone. The circle of Cancer is always assigned to the Shemite. That's where you have the temperate zone. It's neither extremely hot nor extremely cold. It has 4 seasons in the circle of Cancer zone. Always given to the children of Israel. That's where you always occupy. Anywhere this climate zone is. Now the equator is where the Hamites normally get. The equator is where the Hamites normally get. That's the equator zone that you see in the reddish color. That is always hot. then you get the circle of Capricorn, which is the same in temperature as the circle of Cancer, where you also have to some extent some Shemites there. But the main majority of the Shemites are always in the circle of Cancer. And then you get the Antarctic circle, where the barrier, the dome, the ceiling, the roof is set up, and that's where everything ends, where you can go out. You can't go out any further than the Antarctic circle. But they've been telling you Antarctica is down by South America. Lie! The entire circle is Antarctica, where they are trying to go and trying to occupy and prevent you from going, from knowing the truth that they're all, including us, locked in until the Father said, time to remove it. And he's going to remove it soon to let his children be able to move to another 45-degree turn successfully without being destroyed or purified. The land must be purified in the next movement of the climate zone. Next movement of the climate zone. So this is your planet, my people, oh children of Israel. The place that you're occupying now, your north magnetic pole is over Hyperboreal between Alaska and Russia. That's where your north magnetic pole is. That's the pole that moves every 3,240 years. It moves 45-degree clockwise each time. So if it's at that point now, what was it? 3,240 years before. Where was it? 3,240 years before. 45-degree backward, you get the Bermuda area. But we'll go over that in a minute. But this is how your planet is set up now, based on what you are occupying. Let me talk some more now about your magnetic pole, because you need to know this in order to know where you're coming from and where you're going before you can get to go to the new location of your planet. There has to be a cleansing of the location you are leaving from, and where you are going, it has to be cleansed as well. Keys of Enoch 118 verse 17. Before you can get to go to that new location and start your new story of creation on the planet that you are on, before you get to go to that new 45-degree location, the location has to be cleansed, purified where you are and where you are going. It has to come back clean. It has to be cleansed before a new story of creation can go on for the children of Israel. The Adamic seed, the Shemites, occupying your circle of Cancer zone. It has to be cleansed first. So the planet will go through a geomagnetic and catastrophic change to make sure it is purified before a new story of the Shemite, the Adamic seed, creation can start up again. That's what happened to your planet during Noah time, during Moses time, and through this time, which is Prince Louis time. Always happen. The magnetic region of the North and of the South Pole must release their torque, release their energy, spinning the shell of the planet magnetic North Pole to a new location that must happen each 3,240 years when you get to go to a new location of your planet, another 45-degree location of your planet. must happen before you go to that new program of existence, which occur every 3,240 years when your planet moves its magnetic pole to a 45-degree location, spinning in a circular manner around your planet 8 times to make up the 25,920 years precession of the equinox time. That's how your planet works. So you have to know where you're coming from, that you were coming from another time where the magnetic North Pole spin to get you to where you are right now. And you're going to go through that same spin right now to get to a new location where you can start up again a new program of existence where the children of Israel, the righteous seed, will start up a permanent program of their eternal life, of your eternal life. This is the difference with this one right now, where it's different from Noah spinning off magnetic pole, from Moses spinning off magnetic pole. Yours is different because you're moving into your eternal life. You were promised that eternal life by your Father. That's why he says, the wages of not following my law, the reward for not following my law, the reward for not being among the righteous is death. But the gift of the Most High that he's promising unto you is eternal life. That's why I say, make yourself ready, O children of Israel, for your eternal life. This spin that's coming up right now is to bring you into your program of eternal life. That's your magnetic North Pole movement explained to you. So now you know where you came from and where you're going. The magnetic poles are balanced on the earth. The earth is balanced by the magnetic north and the south pole. Every magnetic north has a south in relationship to it. At the time when tremendous solar flare movements will bombard our planet, because that's the sign that it's about to change 45 degrees to another climate zone. Now, when the earth, which is our planet in this case, get bombarded with solar flare, the magnetic point of the earth will set itself in a cataclysmic move, an imbalance which spins it to a new magnetic North Pole. That's what we're moving to now, because we're at the end of a 3,240 year cycle. The last cycle was at the time of Moses. We're going to get into that in a minute. Keys of Enoch 105, verse 29. The ancient astrophysical texts speak of the previous geocycle tumbles where the earth magnetic north moved and caused cataclysmic events. They speak of it, which happened during great cataclysmics when, for example, the Sudan Basin in Africa was a north magnetic pole. It was a north pole. That's what you're moving back to, my people. So if you go back here, you see the magnetic North Pole is at Russia, between Russia and Alaska. If you move it 45 degrees clockwise, it takes you over the Sudan Basin in Africa. That's where it's moving to next. So mentioning here that it was there before and it's moving back there now. Now, shifting your magnetic field, we can understand how the natural time warp actually already exists. So, this is known to your fathers and to the angels that watch over his children on this planet. So every time there's a cataclysmic event through the movement of your magnetic north, he sends his angel on this planet to prepare the children of Israel for what is coming and the movement of that magnetic north, so they are not destroyed by these great cataclysmic events. That's what Moses did at his time, that's what Noah did at his time, and that's what Prince Louis is here to do at his time, which is now. So if you go back to Noah's time, 6,480 years. You go back to Moses' time, 3,240 years. That's the breakout of it. A time when something cataclysmic occurs and someone is there to move the children of men to safety. Now we go back to Noah time. We move back 2 clicks at 45 degrees. Noah time, the North Magnetic Pole was in the North Atlantic Ocean. Okay, you see, most of the other places on our known planet, some of them were covered, but some weren't. Noah time, again, there's a circle, the dark blue circle, unbroken circle, that's where Noah's time was. Then it moved to Moses' time, click 45 degree clockwise, it moved over to the Bermuda area, which is our North America area. So North America was the North Pole, which means North America was the Arctic zone. Arctic zone. So that's at the Moses time. Moses time, again, it's going to move to where it is right now, which is hyperboreal between Russia and Alaska. It keeps moving. Click 45 degrees. Another click 45 degrees. Now it's due for its next move. If you follow that circle that it's moving on, 45 degrees, it's going to go down to the Sudan Basin in Africa. But if you're looking at an Africa map where it turned the other way, instead of the south, what they call South Africa, pointing up, now they have it pointing down, you'll forever make mistakes about what is going on your planet. It's moving in a circle, and it has to mirror what your planet look like, as your father shows you every month what your planet look like. So that's how your circular movement of your planet is moving. There is nothing new under a sun system. This is called a sun system. The sun is set up and it keeps moving your climate in other location. Your sun keeps spinning around this area, not your earth spinning around no sun that was set up, a physical sun. No, not no earth spinning around no sun. People, you have to go back to the instruction given to you by your father. He says, look up and observe the sun, the moon, and the stars. So if you look up during the daytime and watch your sun, you'll see your sun moving in a circular pattern around any area that you are on the planet. It starts out in a northeasterly position. It moves down as a curve southward, and then it comes back up by afternoon, going into the evening, the sunset in a northwesterly position. That is the same as the place that it rises in the morning, only on the opposite side of your location. So it moves southward in a curve, come back up to a northward position. That cannot be. An earth spinning around a sun, the sun would have moved in a straight line across any point of the planet you are on. That's why he says, look up so you can see how the sun is moving in a curve movement throughout your entire space that you're occupying on the planet at that time. Moving in a curve, a circular manner around your planet. Look up, people. Don't take my word for it. Go check yourself. Go out in the morning, check to see where the sun rises. Go out by 1 p.m. and look where the sun is. It moves southward from where it was rising. Then go back in the evening, shortly before the sun set. You will see it move back north. going in the westerly, but moving up north. That's a circular pattern, my people. Look up. Luke 21 verse 28 tells you, look up for my sign, so you know what's going on with your planet. Your planet, the whole thing, spins around a central sun. Yes, that's a spiritual sun. But the physical sun, which was set up and put on your planet to lock you in, your training ground during 6,480 years, that is orbiting. It's moving in a circular pattern around this area, but it's moving only in the confined zone that's moving 45 degrees each time. That's where the sun is set up. Once it leaves that location, no more sun for that location. That area freezes over and becomes part of the dome ice grid that's always at an Antarctic zone. That's how your planet moves. So every time this sun climate zone is moving a 45 degree, children of Israel, you have to have an exodus to move to the new zone that is of the circle of Cancer, where you can take over. That's why you always have an exodus. Know what time you had your exodus? You moved, and then right after you moved, the Most High assigned the land again, saying to the north belong to Japheth, to the center belong to Shem, and to the hot zone, the equator line, belongs to Ham. Now it happened during Moses' time. Same thing occurred. It's going to happen in our time. But what makes it different? In our time, the sun system will go away completely. No more need for a sun system, because now it's being transformed to a spiritual planet that is radiated upon by a spiritual sun. No need for a physical sun anymore. The sun was never there to begin with until the fall, when the Adam fell. As soon as he fell, the sun system, boom, put up, because every time this circular pattern occurs, that 25,920 years, there's always a time where Adamic men are going to fall. And as soon as they fall, the sun is put up and lock them in that space so they can't go to a spiritual space and spread their darkness. That's the system that you're in, my people. So, moving into your time now, your magnetic pole shift is due to happen, because the last shift, if you count backwards, 3,240 years, you're gonna get back to 1,216 BC. That's when the last change occurred. That's when the last movement of the magnetic North Pole occurred. The next one is due 2024 to 2026. That's the time frame I give it. Give a little bit, take a little bit. That's the time frame that it's scheduled to happen, to move the planet in a new formation of time. If you're using the cycle of time given unto you by your father in the procession of the equinox. That's where it's moving to. It moved from Bermuda, that's the magnetic north. In Moses' time, it moved to Hyperborea. At our time, it's going to move from Hyperborea to Sudan Basin in Africa in our time. Then, shortly after that, the sun system that was set up in the climate zone will be removed. The sun system, I say, in the climate zone will be removed. There will be no more need for a sun system, because at that time, the planet will be radiated upon. The planet will be radiated upon by a spiritual sun. The spiritual sun will radiate the planet. So there will be no need for a sun, for a moon, for any temperature, whether snow, winter, summer, this or that. The spiritual essence will radiate upon the planet, and there will be no need for all the things that you are now using and seeing on your planet. That's what's coming your way, my people. That's what's coming your way. Why is Earth's magnetic North Pole drifting so rapidly? That's what they're asking. If you don't know, if the Father did not tell you what is coming as part of how his procession of time works, then you're going to ask this question. But who they're asking it to, they know, but they're not going to tell you until your Father sends you back the information. Why is the planet magnetic North Pole drifting so rapidly? Between a 10-year period, it drained going to a rightward direction, spinning. That's what's coming your way, my people. Moving rapidly. So once you see that one area is drained of the energy and it moved to another area, then you know the flip is about to occur. It's moving to Africa. It's moving to the Sudan Basin. It's going to make a swift movement when it reaches that critical point and create cataclysmic event. So don't ask this question anymore, because the Most High is telling you why it's moving. If you go back to my sun and moon and sun and star messages, you will know exactly why. But I have to walk you through it for this message so you know where you're coming from and you know where you're going. So basically, at Moses' time, you're coming from a magnetic North Pole at Bermuda, and you went to a magnetic North Pole at Hyperborea. That's where you are. And then you're going to a magnetic North Pole in Africa, the Sudan Basin. That's where you're going to. That's the journey you're here to take now. With Prince Louis, that shift is coming up. Cataclysmic events are coming. And as happened in the Moses time, where Moses had to take the children of the Most High to a place of safety, and they exodus to that place, you have to do the same thing now. That's why I'm telling you. Get ready, O children of Israel. Get ready, O children of Israel. Take on righteousness as the Father given unto you. He gave you a list of things that you need and you can do to be among the righteous. I'll put it back on the screen. Pay attention to it, my people, because every time these events occurred, it's a cataclysmic event, and those are of the unrighteous seed, the seed that is not ready to move forward in light, usually perish. Don't want that for you. Now, Keys of Enoch 118, verse 19. Prophecy of the 9 oracles. You can read that prophecy on your own. Suggest that you read it. Prophecy of the 9 oracle will confirm the changing of the polar region, as I've been telling you. This change is a purification of the planet, the old one that had been destroyed, where man is occupying, to a new location. Only the righteous get through to go to the other climate zone that is coming up. Once it click into change, all the unrighteous seed are purified. They're taken off the land, perish, and only the righteous are the ones who qualify to move into the other climate zone will survive. So the polar region is going to move from where it is now. Your magnetic North Pole is going to move from Hyperborea, that land that they cover on the map, but it's there anyway. It's there anyway. No matter how much you take Hyperborea off the land, it's called a polar paradise. If you're looking to find out more about it, it's called a polar paradise. That's what it's called. So it's moving from there to the Sudan Basin. That's where your magnetic North Pole is moving to. And as part of that move, 12 pillars of light are going to pop up on your planet to show you where to go, the righteous seed, so you can be taken, removed from the surface of this planet before these cataclysmic events occur. That's what they call 12 time warps, 12 pillar of light that take you out of your dimension of time, bring you in another dimension of time where none of these things are occurring. Once a cataclysmic and the purification has been completed, then you are put back on the surface of the planet to carry on. This is where it's going to, my people. This is where want the message to be clear to you. I want this message to be clear to you. There is a magnetic pole shift coming, and as part of that pole shift, it's moving from where it is now, Alaska, Russia area, to the Sudan Basin area. It's coming no matter what man tell you or what even your own self-ideas tell you. It is coming, the children of Israel. Prepare yourself. The children of Jacob, prepare yourself. The children of Judah, Ephraim, and my Gentile Caucasian brothers and sisters, prepare yourself. Through righteousness, can you make it through to this next time that's coming? That purification that is coming. The same purification that happened at Moses' time. At Moses' time, he had an Exodus and cataclysmic event, and he had a pole shift. The pole shift explained the earthquake, the winds, and the ice, but no one told us about the fire at Moses' time. They didn't tell us about the fire at Moses' time. Where did the fire come from? Where did the fire come from? Chasing the children of Israel out of Egypt. So Moses had to take them to safety, so they will not, and they did not, and they were not destroyed. What caused the fire? Jeremiah 48 verse 8 caused the fire. Same fire gonna cause at our time during the magnetic pole shift, because they didn't tell you that a company that come with, that's partner with the pole shift, is a red kachina, is a purifier, is a spoiler, is a destroyer, is a cosmic fire, is a fearful constellation. All the same name for the purifier. Jeremiah 48 verse 8. And the spoiler shall come. Same way it came at Moses' time, it's gonna come at Prince Louis' time, which is our time, the time that we're in, when our magnetic pole shift is moving from Hyperborea to the Sudan Basin. The spoiler shall come, the destroyer shall come and purify the land. This is a purification that goes with the movement of your magnetic pole. They always go hand in hand. So going back to Jeremiah 48, verse 8, the spoiler shall come upon every city, and no city shall escape. That is a purification. Where it shall come, where it shall come, where everything shall perish, everything shall be destroyed. That is upon the land that is not in the holy city, Azareth, the holy city, Azareth, which is in the United States of America. That's the holy city, where the righteous shall be protected during the pole shift, and the destroyer, the spoiler, aka the red kachina, aka the destroyer. Don't believe what I'm telling you? Let's read on. Colburn Bible, Book of Manuscript, chapter 3 tells you about the destroyer. About the destroyer. Verse 1. Men forget the days of the destroyer. Only the wise know where it went, and when, where it shall return at its appointed time. It's on a time schedule, people. 3,240 years. We're gonna get into that in a minute. Verse 3. When ages pass, 3,240 years that pass, certain laws will operate after those years have passed upon the stars in the heaven, and these destroyer, the spoiler, its way will be changed, no longer to be constant and staying away from the planet Earth, but it shall be directed towards planet Earth, and a great light shall appear in your sky. Redly in your sky. Redly in your sky. It shall be in your skies, my people. Let's jump to verse 7 to figure out when, because the Most High will not send destroyer or whomever without telling you when and what signs to look out for. So we're gonna concentrate on the time of the destroyer. Verse 7. Signs signs and time which comes before the destroyer return upon you, O children of Israel. Make yourself ready. That's why you're getting this message, to know where you're coming from, so you know where you're going. Here is where you're going. 110 generation. 110 generation shall pass before the return of the destroyer. What is 110 generation? We're going to get into that. Let's look at the numbers. 110 generation. We're going to get into the numbers. 3,240 years. That's the time clock that this destroyer is on. That's the time clock that the magnetic pole shift is on. Divide that by 110 generations. How many generations each have to pass? 29.45 generations have to pass before this destroyer return. We're gonna get into that final number in a minute. Let's jump to that number. Generation has given unto you in your modern day time. Generation generally considered what? 20 to 30 years. So if you got 29.45, you're right there. You're right there where this thing is going to return, because you can't say it should have been 20 or it should have been 28, because those times would have already passed. So it has to be 29.45 years, moving up to 30 years. But you're going by the knowledge that the Most High gave you, that it shall come within 3,240 years. You divide that by the 110 generation. It puts you right at your time now. After the Moses event occurred, 1216 BC. So children of Israel, you're getting your message back. Thus it was in the days of the heavenly wrath which came at Moses' time, which is now at our time, Prince Louis' time. And where Prince Louis has to make sure there's a place of safety. The Holy Land of Nazareth is reopened for the children of Israel to go there and be safe from all these calamities and wrath that are coming with the magnetic pole shift and the destroyer being released and unleashed back upon the America. Let's read on. Thus it was in the past where the day of doom passed, but it's coming back. When it comes back again, these are the times and the coming that are known to the wise, because they know that it's 3,240 years between each destroyer, which equate to 110 generation, which gives you 29.45 years per generation, which match back with your timeline, which you say 20 to 30 years is a destroyer scheduled to show up at your front door. Where is it gonna show up? Where is it going to show up? 110 generation shall pass into the west. Where are you right now if you're in America? You're in the west. Where are you right now if you're in Central America? You're in the west. Where are you now if you're in South America? You're in the west. Where are you now if you're in the Caribbean? You're in the west. You're in the west, my people. As a lightning striketh out of the east and move it on to the west, so shall the Son of Man, Prince Louis, be. He shall start over in Egypt where Moses was, and he shall make his way to the west. And living in the west, as Jonah told you, the sign of Assyria is now over in America, which is a sign of Jacksonville, Florida. So this is the west that this thing is going to strike in after 110 generation. Children of Israel, make yourself ready, because the Father has given you back your information of his times and his signs, so you know what is coming your way. You cannot know where you're going unless you know where you're coming from. That's what you're coming from. And where you're going is to be delivered, moved off the surface of the planet before the natural disaster strike. That's where you're going to, my people. That's where you're going to, my people. Elijah, Apocalypse of Elijah told you, the righteous seed, removal of them off the surface of the planet before the proceeding of the natural disaster that's coming to the planet, the angels shall open up the pillar of light and open up the hidden city to the children of Israel, the children of Jacob, the children of Judah, the children of Euphrates, the children of the Gentiles. All the righteous seed shall go in and be saved, to make sure they're not part of the destruction, because the Holy Land will protect all those who are in the Holy Land, which will be made known to you at that time when the veil is removed. You shall see Azareth, and you shall be a part of that land of Azareth, where natural man has never lived before. You hear me? Where the physical man, which is unrighteous, has never lived before. Get ready, my people. Get ready, children of Israel. Make yourselves ready for what is coming, because now you know where you're coming from. So where you're going to now is clear and should be clear to you. The dark-skinned children of Israel, the time of Moses in Egypt, 1400 to 1200 BC. That's the time Moses was in Egypt area. That's where his North Pole, that's where his magnetic North Pole would have been, in the Bermuda, close to North America area. North America, most of it would be in the Arctic Circle. The Arctic Circle. So it would have been cold, would not have been assigned to the Shemites, the children of Israel, the Adamic seed, because the Adamic seed normally get the circle of Cancer area, which is a space between that circle of Cancer line up to the Arctic Circle. That's where the Shemite would normally occupy. The Hamites would occupy by the equator line, between the equator going up to the circle of Cancer line. But that's where the Hamite would occupy. Then the circle of Capricorn, sometimes again, the Shemite would occupy that zone, because again, the circle of Cancer, circle of Capricorn are temperate zone. They have seasons going and coming. That's their zone. And then you'll have the Antarctic zone, right where it is right now. So if you look at the Antarctic zone during Moses' time, the dotted blue line, you'll see where was frozen over at that time. If you look at the map right now, you will see that part of Australia would have been in the Antarctic. Part of Africa would have also been in the Antarctic. Part of Africa, what we call South Africa, the true South Africa, not the one they give you now where it's pointing down. They flipped it on us, people. But we're not here to discuss their lies. Most times waking us up to truth. So this is how it would look at Moses' time. Now it's moving to Alaska. That's where the magnetic North Pole is moving. So the Most High has to move his righteous seed to the new area that is covered under the circle of Cancer. That's what the Moses Exodus is, my people. Moving the children of the Most High to the next climate zone, to where they can occupy the circle of Cancer. So during Moses' time, if Moses was in Egypt, Moses was close to the equator line. He was below the equator line slightly. That's where Moses was. That's where he was. And he knew, Moses would have known this is coming, because Moses is a Messiah prophet of the Most High. So the Most High would equip him with what was coming. So Moses' time, 14th to 13th century BC, which covers him between 1400 BC to 1201 BC, coincide with the time that I'm telling you that was the last cataclysmic event. If you go from 2024, go back 3,240 years, you get to 1216 BC. If you go back 3,240 years, it takes you back to 1216 BC. Coincide again with Moses' time, where Moses was to deliver the children of Israel, the children of Jacob, the children of Judah, and the children of Ephraim, and even the Gentiles from the slavery that those who were ruling over them at that time and who were practicing the similar type of Western Christendom that the children of Israel are now being held in. They were in that time as well, coincide again with the 3,240 years cataclysmic movement of your magnetic North Pole, 45 degrees clockwise. 2nd Ezra 1 verse 14, just as our time where we will get those 12 pillars of light that tells us this is where you come to be gathered and to be saved from the disaster that is coming. He got it as well. That is Moses, the prophet, the Messiah at that time. I gave you light in a pillar of light, and great wonders have I done among you. Yet you have forgotten, O children of Israel, saith the Lord, though Melchizedek, Yahweh. But I'm here to bring it back to your memory because you need to know it now. As it has happened in Moses' time, so shall the Son of Man do in our time. As Moses lit up the pyramid of Egypt and triggered the 12 pillar of light, Moses did that, so must our Son of Man, Prince Louis, do at our time. Same thing, my people. But this is what came after Moses had pulled away the righteous seed and made sure they exodus to their new locations. When you led his descendants out of Egypt, where did he lead them to? Mount Sinai. What is at Mount Sinai? The pillar of light that will take them to a new location. That's where the circle of cancer is going to be. That is safe and tuned into the new climate zone that he has created for the children of Israel. After he bent down the heavens for them, after he bent down the heavens for the children of Israel, send them their pillar of light, then he shook the planet, moved the world, made the depth tremble and troublous time, just as Daniel told you. Troublous time, same coming back as happened in Moses, the fire, the earthquake, and the ice. That ice dome set up where the people were when the climate moved. Ice set in, immediately it freeze over. Immediately it froze over. Same thing coming with a little bit of difference in our time, because our time it's moving but no new climate zone. Everything will be one climate zone under one spiritual sun moving forward. These were the people in Egypt at Moses' time. These were the people in Egypt at Moses' time. It tells you 21st dynasty, about 1050 BC. No, it was around Moses' time. This is the time. What color people you see here, my people? What color you see in front of you? What color you see in front of you? People of color, black people as they're called in your modern day time. So it's you that was in Egypt. You that was in Egypt. You that was in Egypt. Where did you exodus to? Where did you exodus to? Where did you go and started back your 5 divine law? Notice the young lady in the middle at the top portion. She's holding the ankh, which is a symbolism for your 5 divine laws. For your 5 divine laws. Notice the chair. Notice the throne that the high priest was sitting on. How many times you gonna see the ankh under his throne? That's your 5 divine laws given back to the Egyptian every time to remind them of their 5 divine law that they must do and accomplish, that they must do every day. If any man followeth after me, let him get up daily and follow his cross. Let him get up daily and take his cross. If he does not take his cross, he's not my disciple. first let him empty out himself of all the ideas that he's coming up with, that his cross doesn't exist, and take up his cross daily and follow the words, the principles, and the laws of the Most High. Your 5 divine laws given back to you. You were there, my people. You again in Egypt. I have to put you on the land. Then with that land change, where did you go? Where did you go? You're on the land, my people. You again, people of color, black people in Egypt. In Egypt, that's you there, my people. You're still there again. People of color in Egypt. In Egypt, you're there, my people. Don't let anyone tell you that you weren't there. You were there. You were there, my people. And every time a cataclysmic event occurs, there's a Horus, a Messiah, a person of color with black hands and black feet that come and help you and guide you out of those cataclysmic events and bring you into righteousness and in the kingdom of righteousness that always start up after a cataclysmic event. That's the Messiah during the Egyptian time, Horus, then we have Noah, then we have Moses. You there, my people, you were there. So how did you get out of Egypt into Europe, O children of Israel? How did that occur? When the cycle was moving, when the magnetic North Pole was in Bermuda and moving over to where it is now in Alaska, Russia, you had to get up and move as part of the Moses Exodus. Again, Most High always move out his righteous seed. You were on the land to begin with. You were on the land to begin with, O children of Israel. Not only in Egypt, remember now, children of Israel, you always occupy the circle of Cancer area. Going up to the Arctic, a little bit going down to the equator line, where you always occupy. If you look at that area on the map you're looking at, Circle of Cancer includes Western Europe. It includes all of Western Europe, going all the way across, even down to the British Islands. That's part of the Circle of Cancer area. So you were there already. You were in Egypt as well, and you had to get out of Egypt and go up to the Circle of Cancer and go up to the Bermuda area that was now changing from being a North Pole to being a part of the Circle of Cancer area. That's what happened. So you had to get out of Egypt and find your way into Europe and into North and South America. But you were already in Europe. You were already there. Let's prove that out. The dark men of Iberian race. Riddles of Prehistoric Time. Riddles of Prehistoric Times by James H. Anderson. The Iberian man. The Iberian man. Dark men of the Iberian race, like the Bushmen of South Africa. They it was who were first and original inhabitants of Northern Africa, Southern and Western Europe, and Southern Asia until they were moved out by the Caucasian race in our modern time. So you were there, as I told you. You were in that Circle of Cancer area, which is Western Europe. You moved a little bit down into the equator line, close to Egypt, to North Africa. You were there. If you look, part of your North Africa now is again in the Circle of Cancer area. You were there, people, already during the Moses time, and then you moved as well with the climate zone moving 45 degrees. You were there. Caucasians couldn't be there because they were in the north. They were in the Bermuda Triangle area. That's where they were. That was the ice cold area at that time. The Bermuda area, which covered some of North America. A lot of it goes out into the ocean, which is the Atlantic Ocean. But Down, if you look to the south, that's where most of the occupied lands were. To the north, not too many occupied land. It's just ocean when you're looking at the real map, not the fake one, the man-made one that was given unto you by liars. So you were in all those lands, the dark men of Iberian race, as they call it. But these were the dark-skinned people. Some were of the children of Israel that were in the circle of Cancer area. Some were the Hamites that were in the equator area during Moses' time, and then they moved themselves to align with the new movement during our time now. But you notice, people, the elephant on the page. Did you notice the elephant in the room? The elephant on this page. Do you notice it? James H. Anderson mentioned the dark men of the Iberian race in Southeast Asia. You notice that? In all and most of our modern day books, there is no mention of the dark men of the Iberian race in Southeast Asia. So it leaves that elephant in the room that needs to be addressed. So I'll take a quick detour to tell you about the dark-skinned men of Iberian race that were in Southeast Asia. We go to Anacalypsis as an attempt to draw aside the veil of the Sciatic Isis, or an inquiry into the origin of language, nations, and religion by Godfrey Higgins, Esquire, page 161 of that book. Let's talk about the dark-skinned Iberian men in Southeast Asia. Very great importance. Very great importance, which is particular, peculiar, especially distinct to who? Buddha. That's who we're going to draw upon as our Iberian race of dark-skinned men in Southeast Asia. Buddha. Let me start over one more time. One circumstance of very great importance, which is peculiar, particular, especially distinct to who? Buddha. That's who we're going to draw upon today as our detour of dark men of the Iberian race that was in Southeast Asia. What's so peculiar? What's so distinct? What's so particular to Buddha? Because we have to know he's continuously described as what? Negro. That's Buddha for you. Negro. He's a man of dark complexion of the Iberian race that was in Southeast Asia. You were there also, my people. I know we're going to talk about Europe and America, but I had to address the elephant in the room. Describe Buddha as always being described as what? Negro with a black complexion. That's Buddha again for you, which agree with the complexion of Krishna. Same complexion. Both of them have. So those were the deities in Southeast Asia that is being worshipped even up until today. They're worshiping a person of color, dark skin, Buddha, and Negro of black complexion, same and particularity as Krishna. The lips in note number 4 at the bottom, the lips are often tinged with red color to show that the blackness does not arise from the color of the statue being bronze or of stone, which is what most of his statues are made of. But that the black is the color of the god Krishna and Buddha that they are worshiping in Southeast Asia. That's what I want to leave you with in this short detour. Back to the main message. Let's go back. You were there, my people. You were there. Now, the Iberian in the ancient time, in that same book, Riddles of Prehistoric Time by James H. Anderson, inhabited western and southern parts of Europe, northern part of Africa. The Basques, which are in Spain and France, were dark people. Dark people. The dark Welsh, Scots, and the black Celts again occupied Europe, which were dark-skinned people. Those who occupied the Shannon River in Ireland, the same kind occupied Britain. They were dark-skinned people. The Aquitaine in France, dark-skinned people. The Guanches in the Canary Island, dark-skinned people. All dark-skinned people occupied all these zones. All these zones. They were there in Moses' time, and they migrated even more in there after Moses' cataclysmic event. They were there, my people. You were there up until this day, because right now you're living after the Moses cataclysmic event. So you were there, Early Man in Britain. Early Man in Britain by William Boyd Dawkins, page 330 of that book. Population of Britain is traceable. They might give you some skewing here and there, but if you go back to the roadmap that the Most High present unto you, O children of Israel, to the people in the possession of the land before the Caucasian, the Indo-Europeans came in and supplanted them. Dark Welshman, swarthy means dark. Dark-skinned person, the dark complexion Welshman, he was there. He was dark of complexion, dark Welshman, is identical with the dark French man. They were there. Dark-skinned people in Europe already before the Moses cataclysmic event. They were there, and they remained there even after the Moses cataclysmic event. In Scotland, the dark Highlanders, in the Ireland, the black Celts, they were there up until 1216 BC, up to Moses' cataclysmic event time. And they remained there up until 1924, when they were all cleared out. That's your history, O children of Israel. You were there. No, we're not done yet. Ancient and modern Britons, a retrospect. Paul Keegan, let's talk about that book. Page 45. The Iberians are styled what? Swarthy, which is dark complexion people. Curled hair, the dark Highlanders, and the black Celts, west of the Shannon, dark-skinned people of the children of Israel. Think you weren't there? You think you weren't there? People say you were there. Pliny said you were there. He said, characterized their complexion as Ethiopians. That is, black as Ethiopians. They style you as what? Black as Negroes. You were there in Europe because they were exposed to what they were seeing in Africa after Moses' time and during Moses' time, and they saw the same people in Europe. That's who you were, my people. That's who you were. That's who you were. You're the black Irishmen, the black Scots, the black Briton, the black French, the black Spanish, the black Western Europeans. You were there. Claudius, during the Roman invasion time, put you there. Put you there, call you blackamoor, but you were in Europe when they left from Italy and come over to the Europe section. They saw you were there, all in the Gaul. You were all over the Gaul. You occupied all of Western Europe, even Russia you occupied, and all the way to the British Isle. You were there. They said, whoa, so much blackamoors, we can't seem to stop seeing them. They were there. you were there, my people. The British pigs. On the other hand, you were dark skinned. Dark as ever, you pigs. Blackamoor, that's what the Roman emperor styled you as. Claudius wrote, but you were there, no matter what name they give you. Same book, page 44. The dark-colored people were there. They were there, physical in appearance. These spiritual ones that were there, they were called Druids and Druidesses. Those are the high priests of the children of Israel. Jacob, Judah, Ephraim, you were there. Druid and Druidesses, who were the college people, the teachers, the high priests and high priestesses who had goat beards, the men. That's how I told you. The Most High isn't sending no unbearded men to rule over you at this time. If he doesn't have a beard, he wasn't sent by the Most High. He sent himself. If he doesn't have a beard, Most High send his messengers with beard so you can identify who they are. Druids and Druidess. Druids had bearded like goats. They were the teachers, professed the knowledge of the future. Bearded like goats. They worshiped the Most High Allah, Yah, Yod, He, Vah, the Netter of Netter, and they were dark-skinned. They were dark-skinned. You were there, children of Israel. You were there. How did additional dark-skinned children of Israel from the time of Moses arrived in Europe during 1300 BC to 1200 BC after the cataclysmic event of the Moses time? How did you get there? How do you know you were there? Let's go here again. In order, oh children of Israel, for you to know how you get into Europe, you have to know about Shalmaneser the first. You have to know about Shalmaneser the first, who reigned from, they say, 1273 BC to 1244 BC, or 1265 BC to 1235 BC. Whatever time, doesn't make a difference. King of Assyria, he was. He was the king of Assyria. What was he famous for, O children of Israel, that they used on the children of Israel? In 1492, that's what they used on you. Same thing Shalmaneser the first did. They did it back again because it's the same spirit in different bodies at different time doing the same thing as Shalmaneser. He was the first Assyrian king. He was the first king who was known to do what? Who was known to do what? Who was known to do what, O children of Israel, that they have done to you now? Deport you to other lands. Deport you to other lands. When they captured you and you don't want to be a part of their Roman Catholic, you don't want to be a part of their Protestant, you don't want to be a part of any of their religion, they deport you off the land. That's what they did now, and they did it during Shalmaneser the first time. He started that deportation to various lands. Where do you think those various lands are? Where do you think those various lands are? You didn't think Shalmaneser knew about the other world? They knew that the other parts existed. We go to 2nd Ezra 13 verse 40. 13 verse 40 to tell you how the Most High wants you to know. Those are of the 10 tribes except Judah and Benjamin. This is how you were shipped out of Egypt and landed in Britain, and then you were moved on to North America. But we're here to talk about the Britain part, the Europe part. Those 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land of Egypt and Jerusalem, the old Jerusalem. The new Jerusalem is in the United States. In the time of who? In the time of who? Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, who led them away and carried them, deported them over the waters. That's what happened to you, O children of Israel. In Egypt, you were carried over the water. That means you have to go over the ocean. So they didn't move you on another location in Africa. You were moved across the ocean. So they came to another land. You weren't on the same continent. Another land, they took you off the African continent. Another land, you were in Europe. That's where he took you, my people. Europe. And then afterwards, something happened. The Exodus happened at the Moses time, because Salmanassar time, when he was deporting people, was in the 1300. Then Moses time came, which came after Salmanassar had passed away. Then those people again relocated to other parts of the world. That's what the Most High wants you to know today, oh children. That's what he wants you to know, oh his children of the Most High. You, how you got out of Egypt, the 10 tribe, leaving only Judah and Benjamin on the land of Egypt. That's how you were moved to Britain. But we're gonna get to America soon. Don't believe? Don't believe? Okay. This is how they hid it from you. This is how they hid it from you. They took away the knowledge of the Acts of Apostles, the missing book of Acts, the missing Acts 29, known as the Sonini manuscript. They took it away. But the Most High has released it back onto his children so you can know what was in the Sonini manuscript, the missing portion of Acts, the Acts 29. And he told you what happened in Acts 29. Verse 2 and verse 13. He told you how you got into Britain, the land of Britain and Western Europe. He told you how you got there and joined the others that were there. Let's move in on this. Let's move in on Acts 29 verse 2. Because Paul had heard in Phoenicia that certain of the children of Israel about the time of the king of Syria, Shalmaneser the first, who took them as captive, and they had escaped. They were deported by sea to an island far off, spoken by the prophet Ezra. And the island was called by the Romans Britain. Isn't that what Ezra said here? Isn't that what Ezra said here? King of Assyria carried them out over the waters to where? Britain. That's what happened in Acts 29. That's why they had to move that book from you, so you won't know the connection of how you were in Britain. 10 tribes. Part of them are in Britain. 10 tribes, a part of them were in Britain. 10 tribes, 2 remained in Egypt. Judah, Benjamin. We're going to get to how they were shipped out to other lands. Let's move back to this. So, you were deported by the king of Assyria, King Shalmaneser the first, by sea to an island far off, spoken of by the prophet Ezra. 2nd Ezra 13, verse 40. That island was called by the Romans Britain. That's where you ended up, and you spread across Western Europe, France, Spain, Portugal, and other places that you were part of that landmass. You were on that landmass. That's how the 10 tribes, some of them remained in Europe. Acts 29:13. And it came to pass that certain of the Druids, because we just went over the Druids, the prophets and prophetesses, the bearded men, they were there as well, came unto Paul privately and showed their rites and ceremony that they were descendants of the children of Israel. The children of Israel in Europe. Showed him the rights that they descended from the Jew, the descendants of the children of Israel, which had been deported from the bondage in the land of Egypt. They again were deported into Britain. That's how the children of Israel got into Britain. That's how the children of Israel got into Britain. That's how the 10 tribes got into Britain. That's how the children of Israel got into Western Europe. That's how the 10 tribes got into Western Europe. That's how the children of Israel got into the Gaul. That's how the 10 tribes got into the Gaul. The children of Israel, the 10 tribes, were in Europe. Some were there already, but from Egypt. I'm doing a journey from Egypt. That's how you got into Britain, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. Then you moved to France, Germany, Denmark, Netherlands, Switzerland. You were there. All over Western Europe. You were there, my people, as part of the 10 tribes. How did the dark-skinned people of the children of Israel arrive in America? How did you get there, my people? We'll go back to this map because you have to know the placement of people at the placement of time. Moses' time. Look over North America. You see, a portion of it is in the Arctic zone. It would have been cold there. So the children of Israel normally go at the circle of Cancer. That's what's assigned to you, the temperate climate. So you would have been mainly within South America. That's your circle of Cancer area. If you look again, you see the Arctic Circle goes all the way down to Florida, come around, cover a lot of North America, come back around, it's out in the Atlantic Ocean. That's where the Arctic zone was. South America was part of it. The upper portion of South America and Central America were the temperate zone during Moses' time. So that's where the children of Israel would have been during Moses' time. So that's where the children of Israel would have been in Moses' time. That's what's happening at that time. Let's bring it back to here now. Dark-skinned people that arrived in America 1300 BC. More people of the children of Israel came to South America, which would have been the temperate zone at that time. This is how you got out of Egypt, my people. We go to the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean, translated by Dr. Dorian. If you go to the preface of that book, it tells you some 1300 year BC, putting us back into whose time frame? Shalmaneser time frame, 1300 BC. The ancient Kem, the ancient Egypt was in turmoil. All the stuff going on by the Assyrian king invading Egypt, trying to conquer Jerusalem. Turmoil in Egypt. So what happened during that turmoil? Many delegations of priests of Egypt, priests of the children of Israel, the pyramid priests were sent to all parts of the world. They were sent to other parts of the world. One of those parts was America. One of those other parts was Britain. One of those parts was America as well. That's where the pyramid priests were sent. Let's read on some more. The particular group of priests, I call them the Olmecs in our modern day history of what we get. The Olmec heads, no one can explain. But here it is explained how it got there. Who were these people that they were making statues of? The particular group of priests bearing the tablets, the emerald tablets, migrated to South America, where they found a flourishing race of Shemaites. The Mayas were there. As I told you, if you know your time frame, you know who shall be in that space at that time. Pyramid priests, the Olmecs, came to South America, found the other Shemites in that location at that time. Among the Mayas, the Olmec priests settled and remained. Who were these Olmec priests? I showed you from back here. The dark-skinned people that were coming from Africa. The dark-skinned people that were coming from Africa. Mixing and remaining with other dark-skinned people. Being their high priest, priestesses, and people that governed and ruled with them, because the Mayas remembered much of the ancient wisdom, because they are children of Israel that was taught the ancient wisdom of the Most High and his prophet and prophetesses. The Mayas had thoroughly settled going up north to the Yucatan in Mexico, Central America, moving up into North America when the climate switched 45 degrees, putting now North America as the circle of Cancer. Mayas moved northward into North America after the temperature changed in North America. That's the first wave of people that got into America. South America moved to Central America upward and then into North America. That's how they were there. They were there. They were already there. More were joined in there. But we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Dark-skinned people of the children of Israel arrived in America 100 years later. This is as part of now the Moses cataclysmic event. That's how they arrive now in America. We go back again to Shalmaneser the first. You have to remember Shalmaneser. He was the one deporting the Egyptian, the 10 tribes out of Egypt into other land. They all knew the land at that time. The liars weren't running around like now, changing up information. They all knew the land at that time. No one, hey, we don't know here and we don't know there, No, he was deporting people off lands to other locations. What he did, he just said, hey, go sail and wherever you land, drop them there. No, you have to have navigational charts, routes, and maps. So he knew exactly where he was going to deliver these people and bring his troop back home. That's where he took them now. Go back to the story given here in Acts 29, verse 2. We've put the 10 tribes in Britain. We've put them there. Now they're there. Now we go back to 2nd Ezra that told us that they landed in Britain. They were there. Told us again. But let's move a little further. Let's move to verse 41 of 2nd Ezra 13. Now it gets interesting. But they that were in Britain, formed a plan for themselves that they would leave the multitude of nations and go to a more distant region where mankind, where man and woman had never lived. You heard me? You heard me a while ago. Did you hear me a while ago? I'll read it for you just in case you didn't hear it. But they that were landed in Britain formed for themselves a plan that they would what? Leave Britain, leave Western Europe, and go to a distant land where mankind had never lived before. That's where they went, my people. That's where they went, to a new location. Where did the 10 tribes go? Where did they took off to? That they may keep their statutes, which they had not kept in their own land. They want to be the righteous seed. As I told you, every time a cataclysmic event is coming, the Most High pull his righteous seed so they can keep their statutes, keep their laws of the Most High, and do not break them, because others around them of unrighteousness was constantly bothering them. They want to go to this new land that people have never been to so they can keep their own laws on that land. Verse 43, and they went into a narrow passage of the river Euphrates. If they're in Britain, is there any Euphrates? My people, if they're in Britain, is there a river Euphrates close to Britain? No, there isn't. So this is a coded word. This is a coded verse. They went in by a narrow passage of the river Euphrates. We'll cover that in a minute. For at the time, the Most High performed signs for them and stop the channels over the river Euphrates until the children of Israel, the 10 tribes that were of the righteous seed, had passed over the river Euphrates. Through that region was a long way, a journey of a year and a half, and that country was called Arzareth. That's where they went to. But let's figure out what this river Euphrates is. Because if you don't know the code for the river Euphrates, then you will not know where they ended up. You have to go back now to the topography of what they told you the river Euphrates was back in the Assyrian time. It was a river that runs on the left-hand side of the peninsula shape of Assyria. On the right-hand side, there's also another river called the Tigris River, sometimes called the Assyrian River, which runs on the right-hand side of the peninsula shape of Assyria. Now you have to use, as Jonah was assigned unto the Ninevites, so shall the Son of Man be assigned to our generation. So if Jonah, at his time of Assyria, there was a river Euphrates and a Tigris River, the Son of Man at our time has to have those two same rivers in the location where the Son of Man is. Our Son of Man, Prince Louis, is currently in Florida. So that Florida has a peninsula shaped like Assyria. So that's the first thing you have to decode. Secondly, now Florida, you have to look on the left-hand side of Florida Peninsula. That is the Euphrates rivers. And you look on the right-hand side of Florida, that is the Tigris Assyria River. So, going back to 2nd Ezra 13, verse 44. So, that passage, that narrow passage that leads to the Euphrates River takes them from Britain to the Florida zone. There is an underground passage that was made during the cycle to move to and from the city of light, which is under the ocean that leads you to and from any parts of this planet. Let me let that one resonate for a minute, give you a chance to absorb. Now, I'll explain it to you for now. Whatever happened during this time, Moses' time, that's going to happen in a year time again. The same passage in the river Euphrates will be opened up, and you shall see your own great sign and wonders that the Most High will perform, and stop that channel with a pillar of light and make sure that his righteous seed can cross over into the city of light, and none of the destruction shall come to them. Did you hear me loud and clear, children of Israel? Or I said it too quietly. At this time, when another cataclysmic event is coming up, similar to what happened at Moses' time, the Most High is going to perform great wonders and reopen up your river Euphrates, which is your Gulf of Mexico, and create a passage so his righteous seed from all parts of the planet can make their way into the underground ocean sea city, so you can be safe from what is coming on the surface of the planet, and no one can touch you. And when that is done, he moves you back to the surface of the planet to start new and fresh in righteousness. That's what's coming your way, my people. That is what coming your way. You shall get that same movement that the 10 tribe got during that time of Moses. You were moved from Britain to North America. You were moved from Britain to America via that safe passage created by the Most High. When he performed great signs and wonders for you, O children of Israel. And I will give you more on this because it doesn't end here, but it's not the message for it now. We'll pause on this because this is going to talk about your great exodus coming your way. Moving on, we'll stop here for this time because now that I have gotten the people in the landmass, I have gotten you, O children of Israel. In Europe, I have gotten you there. I've gotten all 10 of you in Britain, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. I got you there. You were there. You were there before, but the entire 10 tribes joined on top of who was there. You were all there. I got you in America. Now you came as the Olmecs, the high priest of the Most High Allah from Egypt, and you migrated to South America. Then you moved to Central America. Then when Moses' cataclysmic event occurred, after that you moved into North America, where North America became part of the temperate zone, the circle of Cancer. Then on top of that, those who were in Britain, of the 10 tribes, some of you moved over into North America as part of that exodus, where the righteous seed were taken to the city that's under the ocean, that's in the Euphrates River, the Gulf of Mexico. People, the Most High gave you a sign of this recently with the storm, the hurricane that was in Florida the other day that almost destroyed Tampa. If you look at pictures, videos before the hurricane came, the Most High gave you one of his signs, people. Don't you see what he's doing? The entire shore of Florida, Tampa area, the water was gone. He's giving you his sign that's coming, that he's going to dry up the river Euphrates, people, so you can pass. Take a look at the pictures. River Euphrates, emptied out. Gulf of Mexico, emptied out to show you that I am going to dry up the ocean so my righteous seed can cross when the time is ready for them to go. When I send there, first, I'm going to send a day, a night, and another day of complete sunlight. Midnight, and the sun is going to be still over your head. That's your first sign that the Most High is sending back onto you. Your first sign, my people. The second sign, the second night. Now he will send you the pillar of light. So after you go through a day, a night, and another day of non-stop sunlight, right after that, 12 pillar of light appearing across the entire planet. That's your next sign showing you I'm ready to pull my righteous seed before this cataclysmic event occur. Then after that, 40 days that will last for. Then after the 40-day end, he will remove the veil. Then after the 40-day end, he will remove that ceiling. That dome shall be removed so you can see the heavenly realm. The righteous seed will see the heavenly realm. You shall see that heavenly realm. And you shall know the Most High is here to reclaim his righteous seed. With that said, we're going to stop there for now. We're going to pick up on the next message. How you went through attacks upon attacks. Both of the 2 tribes that were left in Egypt and the 10 tribes that were in Britain and the 10 tribes that were in America, how you kept being attacked all the way up until 2022. That's the next message. That's the next message, my people. We're not done with your journey. Stand strong, O children of Israel. Stand strong, O children of Judah. Stand strong, O children of Jacob. Stand strong, O children of Ephraim. Stand strong, my Gentiles. You're in it as well. Some of you were tricked by your own Gentile Caucasian people. But stand strong anyway. In the name of the Most High, Allah, Yah, Yod, He, Vahweh, Elohim, Netter of Netter, God in our modern day name, and in the name of the Lord, Thoth, Melchizedek, Jehovah, who has given us back the knowledge, the spirit of truth, Miriam, that teaches us spirit and of the Spirit, and we don't need man to tell us anything because the Spirit of truth, Miriam, has been poured back onto us, and the Spirit of truth, Michael, Louis, Elijah, Ishmael, Shiloh, David, Jesus, Emmanuel, Ezekiel, Daniel has been given back to us. Our Moses has come our way to give us back truth and to lead us out of America, the modern day Egypt, to our point of safety and back into our kingdom of the Most High and of the Lord. Thank you, my Lord, our Savior, our Redeemer of the children of Israel, forever and forever and forever.